CSL.
Plus, back at it for another edition.
Casey just looked at us like we were mental.
Like we were some heathens out here. Casey Funderburg.
She's like, I forgot how to do this.
And this is my cue to leave.
Casey Funderburg, Gabe McDonald, Christian out of here talking all things sports around the Carolinas and beyond. Got a lot going on. Month of April, there is, a whole lot going on. You're inching closer and closer to football season. We got the draft in a couple weeks. The Masters going down. We're going to tell you what we would eat or not eat at the tournament. We only got $10, so we're kind of limited there.
I need more money.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a little bit more
money.
bread. Even though the stuff, it's never gone up in price. So shout out to Augusta National for, not feeding into inflation out there, the most prestigious golf tournament out there. But first off, talking the draft, 2 weeks away. Carolina Panthers coming off their first playoff appearance in quite some time. So not as high of a pick as we're used to. Obviously last year, picking in the top 10, now picking 19th overall. There's a number of options on where they could go. We have a lot of different needs, but first off, Casey, starting with you, just, thinking about the main need that they need right now. Where should they go at 19 and how should they use that pick if they end up staying there at 19? Dan Morgan's not afraid to possibly pull off a trade there once we get to draft day.
Yeah, I know we've talked about not thinking it's going to be an offensive lineman, but I still think they could go that way at pick number 19 because of Dan Morgan saying, hey, we're going to get the best guy that's available. And I don't think, maybe you'll have a really good edge available at that point, but I'm not sure. I like the idea of Spencer Fano getting drafted by the Panthers. I think that might be a little high for Spencer, but he did do pretty well during the draft process. I also like Jacob Rodriguez. He's another one that his name has been floated around a lot when you think about the Panthers. I think he's a guy who could kind of stick him in different places, and he brings that versatility, and I think that's what they need is a guy either on the offensive line or on the defensive line that can be versatile. Yeah, they need someone they can move around. I think that's what's going to give them the most bang for their buck at that 19 spot. I know you guys probably have some different opinions when it comes to offensive line because we obviously talked about this earlier, but I don't know. I think we were so shocked to see them go with a wide receiver, especially with T-Mac. Never exactly.
Yeah. I think Dan's always thinking Zigwin Zag, right?
Yep. Yeah, and also too, it's like they have obviously shown they're going to help Bryce as much as possible.
Sure, for sure.
They are going to they said that he's our guy, so they're going to put money towards helping him. And I think having a strong offensive line, because there's a bunch of guys who aren't returning this season, is going to be a part of that. So I put Fano out there.
Icky's injury definitely throws a big wrench in everything.
It changes everything
because we really don't have any clarity on the timeline. If there was a definitive timeline, if we knew that he was going to be back, whether it was for OTAs or mandatory minicamp or anything coming up over the summer, then maybe it's like, okay, we kind of have a good feeling we probably don't need to go there. I know it's a need. I don't know if it's the biggest one, though, because you went out and you got, Rasheed Walker, a guy. I know he has some injury history, but still it's a guy that's, been a pretty solid tackle, for the Packers over the last several years. And you made some other additions as well. I know they'll draft one. They'll draft one in the first 2 days. I just still think you mentioned Elton Bryce. I still think they could probably use an extra playmaker on offense potentially. But deep down, though, this defense still needs a lot of room for improvement. That's why we talked a lot about on Mike and Monday. C.J. Allen, I think, should be the guy because he brings a lot of versatility. He's talking about having, guys that can play multiple positions. He could do that on that side of the ball.
Everything I've read about C.J. Allen, too, and this is, I think, why we've consistently gone with him every week. Spencer Fano was our number one the first time we did Mock and Monday, and every week since we've done C.J. Allen. And everything I've read about this kid, he's just a tireless worker.
He should be there. He should be there when they pick.
He'll definitely be there.
Yeah.
But when you think about all the needs of what Carolina needs to address in this draft alone, yes, we're talking about offensive line.
Yeah.
And you and I were talking about it earlier because am I trying to get away from C.J. Allen? Is my mind trying to tell me they need an offensive lineman? Because if they do, I think Vano's going to be off the board. I think Muaga is going to be off the board. Freeling's going to be off the board. Then we start seeing Kalen Proctor from Alabama. Then we start seeing
Clemson.
Caleb Molu from Utah.
Yep.
Even Travis Burke from Memphis, who a lot of people are saying is the diamond in the rough when it comes to those offensive tackles. I think it needs to be an offensive tackle if they're going to be. It needs to be a dedicated offensive.
If they're going line, yes, because you're solid at the guard spot. You're investing a lot of money into Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis. Still,
$100 million a piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you look at the center spot. I think that's one you could probably get in the later rounds because you did go out and sign Luke Fortner, who's played some pretty solid football over the last several years. But yes, I think, somebody to come in because Taylor Moden, a guy that's getting up there, has been dealing with injuries. He was the Iron Man for quite some time, but you look over the last couple of years, he's been missing a decent amount of time as well. And you don't,
Well, when he plays, he's so solid,
absolutely.
man.
I mean, he's been, the most consistent piece on that line for the last, near decade. So I think, having somebody that can, that way Rasheed Walker could potentially be your swing tackle, so to speak, or, whoever you end up drafting. But it should be somebody that's, a dedicated tackle to play either right or left.
Is Casey Concepcion someone that would make you steer, if he's available at 19, which a lot of people say he will be, is he someone that would make you steer away from the plan and be like, this guy's the best available? He could be the guy that gets Bryce over the hump.
He could be a very, very special talent. And obviously him coming back here, a Chambers alum, a guy that played in
Went to NC State and then
and
transferred.
ultimately went to Texas A&M. A true playmaker, a guy that when you put the ball in his hands, he can, score, pretty much any time that he has a rock. I think it's a really deep class at that receiver spot. I don't know. I probably wouldn't go that route on 19.
Kenyon Sadiq's name has been thrown around a lot, tight end position. Yeah. I don't see the Panthers going tight end because I feel like
they already have a big room already.
Yeah. And I feel like how you were saying, if they're going to go an offensive playmaker, it has to be a wide receiver because Leggett, he did not have a
Jury's
really
still
great
out on him.
season. Yeah. I mean.
But if he's the best available, Dan, that's what Dan always says.
Yeah. But there could be.
And you got to think about, and also a thing about KC, you bring him up, special teams aspect. You want a solid returner because we saw that position last year.
Yep.
It was a bit of a mixed bag. Yeah. Trevor Etienne had some issues, with some fumbles in some key moments. They really didn't have, a solid returner that can make plays in that third phase of the game, which, we all know that can make a big difference. So I think, KC could be, when you think about the return element and the special teams as well, that could be a route that they possibly go, and it would make for a good story too. So we'll see how things shake out.
Back at it again with CSL Plus.
With the white Vans.
With the white Vans. I'm actually wearing green and white Jordans.
We need a feet cam in here.
We do not need a feet cam.
Actually, we can make some money off
do
of
not
that.
need a feet cam.
Like they do with the Hornets.
We
game.
can monetize it.
Producer Austin, no.
The Hornets do the kick cam at games,
Yeah.
throwing off kicks.
Oh
you
my
got some
gosh.
J's on.
We got a sponsor.
Producer
heels.
Austin, Casey Funderburg,
Yeah.
Gabe McDonald, Christian Audi. There will be no feet cam as long as I'm around.
Listen, we gotta make
Weirdos.
money in
All right,
this.
so with the draft coming up, a lot of positions need to be addressed, yes. But everyone kind of went in a frenzy earlier this week when we found out that Diego Pavia was in Charlotte on a top 20 visit. Diego Pavia is the same
Stay outta
size.
here.
I wonder what restaurant he went
Stay
to.
out of here.
I would like to know that as well.
We don't need Carolina Panthers. Don't need that drama. First off,
That would definitely bring drama, but you have to bring up the fact he's got
And
the
another
same
sh- and another
stature
short
as Bryce
king.
Young.
We already got one short king. The crown. There's only one crown.
And
for
Diego
the short
Pavia's
kings.
not as nice as Bryce Young. We've seen that.
Exactly.
The question is now, it won't be in the first couple rounds,
No.
but do the Panthers take a quarterback at some point in this draft? And I know you are all revved up and ready to go for this
yeah,
one.
go ahead, Gabe. Take it away.
No. To keep it simple, no. You don't need to take a quarterback. I think now, do you need to have one around for rookie minicamp? Yes. So you have an arm out there? Absolutely. Do you need eventually an arm, in the preseason, to get extra reps for the third team, to have extra reps in the preseason game so Kenny Pickett's not out there for the whole game? Absolutely. But spending a draft pick on one when you've reiterated that Bryce is your guy, you're going to pick up the fifth-year option, likely an extension coming at some point. We'll see. The jury's still out on that, if we get to that point. But spending a draft pick on a quarterback, absolutely not. I do think they need to bring one in. That's something you addressed with an undrafted free agent or bringing somebody in on the tryout. Diego Pavia, I know obviously he was a dog in college, made headlines for some of the wrong reasons at times. I just don't know if this is the right place for him. Now, another guy that came on a visit that I would love to have, Haynes King from Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech.
You talk about a younger, mobile guy. That way he can possibly come in if he ends up making the team. That can be your QB sneak guy. We don't need to see Mitchell Evans doing that again or,
Right.
having Bryce Young out there trying to be Jalen Hurts when he's not. So I think Haynes King is a guy that I would love to see when you think about what he showed at Georgia Tech, the mobility that he has. I think they'll have to get a quarterback at some point, yes. But spending a draft pick on one, not the move. If they do, I'm not the one that makes the decisions, but if I was the one, that's not one that I would make.
On
I don't
most
think they need to
big
spend a
boards,
draft.
Pavia is the 16th ranked quarterback. So he's not even in the top 10. He's not.
That's day
he'll
3.
go somewhere.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
absolutely.
He'll
Yeah.
definitely get drafted.
He'll
I
get
think
drafted.
fourth, fifth
He'll get drafted.
round.
He'll be a day 3 guy. Yes.
All right, now I'm going to rattle off a couple QB names that probably won't get drafted.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me, would you have them on or would you pass on them?
Okay.
Tommy Castellanos, FSU. Deep fly ball Castellanos.
That's literally what I
I honestly, because that's been a guy that I've enjoyed watching, even when he was at Boston College. That's some guy I would take a flyer on him. Undrafted free agent. I'd bring him in. That's the guy I'd bring in.
Blake Horvath, Navy. That's the guy I like because he's mobile.
Tough guy.
Super mobile.
Look at Tommy. I mean, Tommy's pretty much a running back. Tommy was ball in the beginning of the year. Florida State, they fell off towards the end, but
Yeah.
you look at what he did at BC in the beginning of the season, especially that game against Bama. Blake Horvath, I know, you got a guy coming from Navy, ran the triple option, so he's mobile. He's a tough guy. I'd take a flyer on him.
E.J. Warner, son of Hall of Famer Kurt Warner,
Mm.
started at the Temple University. You're welcome. Then transferred to Rice and then finished his career at Fresno State.
I'd pass.
He's got a cannon of an arm.
And
And I'm not saying that because he started at Temple. I mean, he left us, so I should be better. But I think he has an NFL quality arm. I don't think he has NFL quality size.
Yeah.
But who remembers Cade McNamara?
Oh man, that's a name I haven't heard in a
Finishing
long
up
time.
at East Tennessee State.
I was about to say, I was wondering where he ended up because, I know he's kind of been everywhere, so to speak.
Mhm.
That's another guy. Pat, because you talk about the arm talent a lot of these guys. I just don't think that's what Dan and them are looking for.
I was
I
about
think
to say,
they want a young, mobile.
athlete.
Yeah, they want an athlete. They want
Yeah.
somebody in there, to do different things and open up the offense. Brad Idzik is going to be calling plays. He might have some new wrinkles when you think about different QB design runs and things like that to kind of keep the defense on their toes. So I don't think arm talent is really what they're looking for. They've said a young, mobile guy, and I think that's what they're going to stick to.
Last one for you, and this guy might get drafted late 7th round.
Okay.
What about Jalen Daniels out of Kansas?
That's another guy.
He helped turn
Absolutely.
a absolute abysmal program
Yeah.
around. A Big 12 perennial
Yeah.
loser into something that was not only watchable,
Yeah.
but exciting to watch.
No, they were fun to watch, and that's another guy. You talk about the mobility and kind of the excitement that he brings. That's somebody else, whether it's, bringing him in if you get him 7th round or if you get him after the draft and sign him, we talk about youth and mobility.
Yeah.
He fits the bill. So I think Horvath, Castellanos, you look at Jalen Daniels, those are the guys that I think they'll try to look at bringing in after the draft. Or if they decide to spend a 7th round pick on them, if they're still there, which they probably could be, I think that's the way to go. But it's all about mobility. I don't think arm talent, yes, you want a guy that can throw the ball in the NFL, but
They just
you're
need
not look-
options with a guy.
absolutely. You're not looking for just, a guy that's going to throw it, 70 yards, on his knees like a Jamarcus Russell, and we saw how that panned out. So,
Bust.
Yeah.
All right, you brought it up, so we got to talk about it. When do you give Bryce Young a long-term extension, if at all?
after this season,
You wait till the end of the season?
I think you wait until
See
the
what
end
he
of
can
the
do,
year.
yeah.
You need another full body of work. We've talked about it. You need a full body of work.
What
2020.
if the team gets off to a 5-2 start? 7 weeks in, they're 5-2.
No, because I don't think
'Cause
he's
you don't
gotta
know what-
finish the season.
Think about what could
Yeah.
happen the final 9 weeks. You could be
Exactly.
5-2, and then you end up 5-12. So I mean, you just never know how things are going to shake out. I think at the end of the season, yes, you're going to pick up the 5th year. We just saw, the Texans did with C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson, who went right after Bryce in that draft. So I think, you got to see another full body of work. Obviously, the end of 24, we saw was good.
Yeah.
2025, there were some highs, there were some lows as well, but you need to see another full body of work and then make that long-term investment because you're looking at, 40, 50 a year when we get to that point, and, that could be pretty hefty.
Well, and hopefully another playoff run too. I don't
Yeah,
like they
absolutely.
did
It's
well in
gotta
the
be.
playoffs, but I feel like Bryce just didn't. He still wasn't quite there in that final game against the Rams, and so I think that right there is how he'll handle
For
the
sure.
postseason. I think that's going to be big for him too. I agree. It needs to be a full season, full body of
Yeah.
work, and then hopefully that a little more maturity in the postseason.
Well, experience
Once
matters in
well
the NFL,
plays.
which we've all seen. And now that he has that little taste of postseason ball,
Right.
granted, via a bunch of losses, he backed into the playoffs, but he still got playoff football
He got there.
and looked good in it.
for
he
the most
did.
part, he
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
He did. But you guys are going to call me crazy. If the Panthers get off to a hot start this year, lock him up early. Lock him up. You gotta. That's the way of the NFL world.
Yeah, I mean,
when have you seen a situation where it hasn't happened? Now?
We have seen some mid-season extensions before, and that's one position where you don't want a guy to become disgruntled. Now, I think Bryce, in just his makeup as a person,
I've never
I don't.
seen Bryce.
Yeah,
so
that's the. I don't. I
Yeah, he'll
don't.
be
I don't
fine.
think he's going to be a guy that's really going to be frustrated. Oh, I didn't get this ascension yet, or looking over at if say CJ gets a big deal, he's
BFF. BFF got the bag.
Right, yeah. Like if CJ gets, his contract, during training camp or the offseason, I don't think Bryce is gonna look over and be like, man, he got that. Like, why am I not getting that either? Like, I don't think
Yeah.
he's
I think he's gonna be more concerned about that offensive line at that
Yeah,
point.
absolutely.
Anyway. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right, we got one more segment to go, and when we come back, we are talking the greatest golf tournament in the world, and not just about the golf. We're talking about the food too. It's the Masters. It's CSL Plus. We're back in a minute.
All right, we are back on Carolina Sports Live Plus. Casey Funderburg, Will McDonald. Okay.
She didn't do the intro. She didn't do the plus. We had to get her somewhere.
Plus, we are here. Okay, we talked about it earlier. We're going to talk about the Masters. But before we get to the Masters, we need to talk about Bristol. That is where NASCAR is going to be this weekend. The Cup Series is back. It's Bristol, baby.
Bristol, baby.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we talked about how it's the last great Coliseum,
Yeah.
what we can expect this week. Gabe, I'm going to go with you. First off, I've been pretty hot on my picks
have
as
been.
to who's going to win. I don't know
Way to
about
go.
you, but what are you thinking this weekend? Do we get another Chevy taking the checkered flag home? What do you think?
I think we could, and honestly, I kind of hope it's reminiscent of the spring race from a couple of years ago, where we just saw every team have tire issues, tires falling off, going into the stand, didn't go into the stand.
He wants chaos.
I want chaos. The 2024 spring race. I mean, just
Shredded tires,
seeing the tire issues in that
everywhere.
one, and just how much drivers and teams had to combat that. I mean, it really made for a thrill of a race. But I do think that we're going to see another Chevy again. Hendrick Motorsports, obviously some good news for them. Alex Bowman going to be back in the 48 car, so they have all their main lineup on the track this weekend. The last time that we had the Cup Series, it was Chase Elliott getting it done in Martinsville. I think his teammate is going to snap a long winless streak, that being Mr. Kyle Larson. Now, he did win a championship in the midst of that the winless streak, of course, but I think that's a guy that we've seen him dominate at Bristol before. I mean, leading 400-plus laps and getting wins, so I think he's a guy that, the 5 team, if there's going to be any issues or anything going down, that's a team that can figure it out when you think about his pit crew, obviously led by Cliff Daniels, one of the top crew chiefs in the sport. So I think it's time for Kyle Larson, young money, to make a little bit of money, get that win, and get the sword as well at the end of the week. One of the cooler trophies that we have, I think.
Did you see the Truck Series has their own now?
Yeah, they got the
They have
little
a gladiator helmet
So
now.
it's like you got that.
That's pretty
You
sick.
got the shield that Allgaier won at Phoenix, and then you got the sword that whoever's going to win. Like they should have
If
a
you
full.
win a
Well, I was
NASCAR,
about
you're
to say, we
battle
can go to
ready.
battle, yeah.
I mean, yeah. We might build a ring in the middle of Bristol and just have them battle it out with their trophies.
You know what? Bristol is bringing so many different sports there, so I think a gladiator ring would make sense at Bristol.
Did you see the new?
I think the basketball court there.
See the
at some
April Fool's prank they did, where
Yes.
they were like, "Oh, we're gonna have the Winter Classic here with
Yeah.
the Hurricanes and the Predators." I was like, "That's not gonna work."
I
You
did
know what
not
would
see
be
that,
cool?
but-
Basketball at Bristol.
They're doing so. I don't get all these indoor sports that are being pulled outdoors. Like they're doing.
Now basketball,
they're doing
college hoops on the
volleyball.
aircraft
College
area was cool.
volleyball
when they did it.
outdoors. Who was it? Nebraska.
Nebraska's doing it.
That
And
was
look at what
so
they-
cool.
And look
Or
what they
was
did.
it-
They sold it out.
They've already sold it out. It's insane. They did it in
Yeah.
Lincoln Stadium,
So
and it was
cool.
wild.
Yeah.
But like, what if it's a big, gusty, windy day? Like they don't have to deal with that during a regular season game.
Ball, basketball, just lay it up. Don't shoot
You just
threes.
got to deal with it. We play, yeah.
You'll go 0 for 40 from 3.
Inside game.
Anyway, there's only a couple drivers right now who are even worth putting money on because in the next gen car, only a couple guys have figured out short tracks.
Yeah.
Larson, Blaney, Byron.
Yeah.
Elliott.
Who?
Elliott. Chase.
Chase Elliott, yes. And then you
Mr.
got the
Austin
outlier,
Dillon.
Austin Dillon, who
Yeah,
had
true.
2 back-to-back at Richmond. Of all of those, I mean, William Byron's absolutely
He's
hot
due.
right now.
He's who
due.
I will take this weekend.
He's
Lock-
due.
locking it in?
He's due for one.
William Byron is who I think, yeah.
All
I
right.
think he's due for one too. I mean, the Hendrick boys, they're getting it done now. They got Bowman back. I mean,
That
Bowman
could
needs to make
give some
noise,
extra motivation. I think just having your teammate back in the mix too. But yeah, I mean they've definitely been able to figure it out. You look at what Byron's been able to do on the short tracks. You look at obviously Larson as well, and going to Kansas next week, trying to build some momentum. We know he's been dominant there as well. I think
This
that's
is so fun.
and it's been one of in Kansas too. I mean, just looking at it real quick, that's been one of the better tracks in the next gen era. You look at Kansas as for intermediates. You even look at, Atlanta where we went to earlier. But I think Hendrick, it's definitely time for them to catch fire. And, having that win from Chase the last time out, I think that could carry over well into this week.
Have you noticed that Reddick isn't anywhere near the top 10 in odds?
Yeah.
But he's not historically he's not been great at Bristol.
His short tracks he hasn't really been the best there, because you look at, even last week in Martinsville, I think he finished, about 15th or 16th.
Yeah.
He's still trying to figure it out. I think the intermediates have been his thing, and he's figured it out on super speedways as well. In the win at Daytona 500, some other ones. So
is this Ty Gibbs's week?
No.
not yet.
See,
Not yet.
I know.
Not yet. I think it's coming.
he's 9-1. He's got the 5th best odds.
I think
and he's been knocking on the door every
I
freaking
think
week.
he will win a race this season. I do not think it will be.
You think he'll win a race?
I think he will win a race this season.
Him and Carson Osevar. You heard it
You've
first.
also
Carson
said that
Hocevar
for
I've been saying
for
Carson
sure.
Osevar since he got into
Right,
the Cup
right.
Series.
You'll die on that hill.
Last season, he would be so close, like the Coke 600. He's right there, and something stupid happens. This year, there's been less stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I hate saying that, but it's like.
But
that's
it's
not-
100% correct.
Exactly.
That's a 100% true statement.
He's a little more mature in his driving, and we'll get a chance to talk to him next week, so we can talk about that. But
we will. On Around the Track, check your local listing.
yeah,
Absolutely.
nice little plug there.
It was. It was a masterful plug.
Wow.
Masters,
Yeah.
greatest golf tournament in the world,
Absolutely. A tradition
And-
unlike any other.
and economic proof, because the prices for food there are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to them.
Ship-
Not conforming
And it
to
tastes,
the
like,
rest of
pretty
the
good,
economy
too.
out here.
Like,
Well-
it's good food for what you're paying.
You're the expert.
You're a resident
You were
Masters
literally
expert.
just at Augusta this week.
Yeah,
First of all, it's not your first time.
correct.
Tell us about the experience in general and just being at Augusta.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when people watch it on TV and they're like, oh, I wish I was there. I mean, that is exactly how it is when you're there. It is beautiful first off. If you're there on a nice day. If it's rainy, windy, it's awful. But if you are there on a nice, beautiful day, it is amazing. There's no phones. Everyone's all dressed up. You're having conversations with anyone around you. We always go and set up our chairs. We love to set them up at 10T. That's where we normally go. We'll go set them up where you can talk to people when you're sitting there. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. It's super hilly. Like, I'm still sore from Tuesday.
Leg day. Don't
Yeah,
skip
it
leg
literally
day.
was my leg day. And so it's truly like everything you see on TV, it is that and more. And then you are seeing literally the best golfers in the world. You are seeing the first major tournament of the season. It's just a wonderful experience. The people that work there are super nice. All the renovations that they've done over the years, because I've seen Augusta in different forms because of how much they've changed it. And it's just incredible what you can do and what they offer for free. I mean, you can go get your picture made in front of the clubhouse. Iconic. It's free. And you can go make a phone call. You can take a camera on a practice round day. And then the food, super cheap. And then you get to take your drinks home and a little souvenir. And it's nice.
Can't beat it.
Yeah. So we have the Build Your Own Masters. That's what we're doing. Okay, we have the Build Your Own Masters $10 order thing, which is too difficult. Like, I
need to borrow money, guys.
yeah, like I either need
I
money.
might need 20.
I'm about to say I need more than $10.
Because this is what I got the other day. This is what I ate. Outside of going to hospitality, I'd rather just go there and get my food, but that's not an option here. So I got 2 egg salad sandwiches. This was my lunch. 2 egg salad sandwiches, a bag of chips, a Georgia peach ice cream sandwich, and then I got a import domestic beer. That was what I had. I know that is not
Import domestic
or not import
beer.
domestic, import light beer. Then they had domestic light beers.
I was like, what? You've imported an already domestic beer? It's Bud Light, but from Canada.
No. I had a Stella, so that's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Trois.
So I know I just seriously didn't follow the thing, but that's what I had, and it was delicious.
$10. What would you do?
$10. Here we go. On the sandwich row, we got pork barbecue for $3, chicken salad for $3, pimento cheese and egg salad for $1.50. Give me a pimento cheese.
Mhm.
Then on the breakfast, we got the breakfast sandwich, chicken biscuit, both for $3, blueberry muffin $2, fresh mixed fruit for $2.50. Give me the breakfast sandwich for $3. So I'm at $4.50 right now. Now we got the snacks, bar none, ice cream sandwich, Georgia peach. That's
100%.
$3.
Yep.
So now we are at $7.50. Doing a little bit of math here. I'm gonna go with. I only got a little bit of money left. I'm gonna go with the $2 iced tea. So that puts me at $9.50. I'll donate the rest of the other 50 cents to whoever the Augusta National Golf Club charity foundation. They can have the extra bread. But yeah,
Yeah.
pimento cheese, breakfast sandwich, ice cream sandwich, iced tea. $9.50. That's how we do
You
it.
get an iced tea and a lemonade. Do a little.
A little Arnie
Yeah,
Palmer
there you go.
time.
I
Lots of
really
Arnie
want a
Palmer.
crow's nest beer.
Okay.
That's $6.
That's $6.
though.
You don't have
I mean,
four
that
left
takes
to
about. I
go.
mean, it takes.
What you
Right.
gonna do?
So if I'm doing that, I mean, there's one of two ways I'll go. Either crow's nest beer and then 2 helpings of the Georgia pecan caramel popcorn.
Oh,
Okay.
what? Not even a sandwich?
So no.
That was
no
route
nothing?
1. Route 2 would be an iced tea at $2.
Mhm.
I'm still getting the popcorn.
Okay.
So now I'm at 4.
You only have 4.
You told me the chicken biscuit was dry, so I guess I'll go with the
Yeah.
breakfast sandwich.
It's pretty good.
So that puts me at
You're
7.
What you got? What's the last one?
I mean,
Good 2 egg salads.
no,
Or 2
but I
Gruyere
gotta get that
cheese.
pork barbecue then.
Okay.
That runs me at 10.
Okay.
But I'm not leaving there without a beer. I mean,
Nah, you got to get one.
I-
I mean, it's a
I'm
match. It's a
crackhead,
match.
And you get the cup.
and you get the cup.
Crow's Nest, their cups say Crow's Nest on it, and then the other beers just have Masters, and then some have the year. So you got to make sure you get a cup
Souvenirs.
of each different thing.
There you go.
So that's the name of the game.
And then you spend $500 in the merch tent.
100%, yes, minimum.
Carolina Sports Live Plus, that wraps us up for today. For producer Austin, for Casey, for Gabe, Christian Audi. We'll see you next week.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.